Okay, welcome back to part 2 of how to create a simple PHP login. In this part I'm going to show you how to create the PHP code. So if we open up Dreamweaver, if we delete all this code out of index and save as, and save this as login.php, open up PHP tags, and before we start actually doing anything, we need to start a session to make sure that no one can access pages without setting a session to begin with. So to do that, session underscore start, that will allow no one without a session to be allowed to see the page. So now we need to get the username and passwords from the previous form. So username is going to be equal to post, and in that we're going to use the username from the last one. So this variable here called username, which is a PHP, is going to be stored as PHP. It's going to get what the user has entered in this username field, and the same with the password. So just copy and paste that down and change the two usernames to password. Right, so now we've got the username and password, we need to create an if statement now to see if the username and password match. So if the username and is by two of the and symbols, and password, so if this value is true, if they've both been entered, we can continue on down here. So if they've both been entered, we're going to create another variable here, bring that up a bit like that. We're going to create a variable called connect, and this is going to connect to the MySQL database you created in the last part. So from here we need to MySQL underscore connect, and we need to create the your localhost, username and password in these speech marks here. So the first one is your localhost, or the host of your database. The second one is your password, and the third one, the second one is your username, and the third one is your password. I haven't got a password set, so I can just leave it as blank. So so now we've connected to it, we can just create an error message here. So if we can't connect to that particular database, kill the script and say couldn't connect to database. Okay, so now we need to create we need to select the what was it, the database, the table, sorry. So MySQL underscore select underscore DB, and in here it was what we called, if I get it back up for you, which is what we called this here, database, where we called it as login. So here, login, and or die. If it can't connect to that login, we're going to say or die. Couldn't find database. So now we've connected to the database successfully. We need to create a query here, and this query is going to equal MySQL underscore query, because that's what MySQL runs by. And in here we're going to say select, and we want to say select all, so select star, which will mean select all the information from the database, and from select everything from, and we named it as users. So select all from users, where we're going to select all the usernames, not name user, and this is going to be then equal to another variable username. So select the username from the database and see if it matches the username what the user has entered. So after this we need to find out how many rows the table has got. So to do this, MySQL underscore num underscore rows, and basically just find and just use it from the query, which is what we had there. So see how many number of rows is in the query. So see how many number of rows is from the table database, the table users. So now we've found out all the number of rows and selected the usernames. We now need to create an if statement to say if the number of rows doesn't equal 0, so which meaning if it is true, so if there's something there, we're going to say while, which is a loop. So loop the number of rows, my underscore SQL underscore my SQL underscore, I'm going to fetch underscore, and we're going to use the query for that. And in here now, so now in here we need to say we're going to create a new variable called db username, so the username from the database, and that is going to be equal to the username the user has entered. And same again, copy this down and change db username to db password, and the same here, password. Okay, so I'm going to continue this tutorial in our part 3, so stick around for part 3. See you soon.